Okay, so this is devlog 1 for Sins of the Guardian. My name is Peter, and my primary role for this project is creating these 7 masks for the character. So the 7 masks is basically the character's abilities, and the way we designed this is we revolved it around the theme of the 7 deadly sins. We thought this would be fitting since the game is based in purgatory, and we thought the sin-based mask idea would be a nice touch. So an example of this is we have a sloth mask, which obviously is the idea of being lazy. So we had it where the mask would slow down time for the character, emphasizing on that idea of being lazy. Lust obviously being the sin of sexual desires or seduction. The ability would be able to manipulate and control other units or other enemies to become allies. And gluttony being a sin of overeating or consuming too much. We had it where the player can absorb damage from the enemies and heal from it as well. So I just want to give you a quick example of how the sloth mask works. I have already coded it and added it to my character, as you can see on the right, sloth mask script. And if we press play, I have these balls that bounce, which lets me tell that the slow down time mechanic is actually working. So if I press Q, everything becomes slowed down, and if I hit these balls, they also move at a slower pace. Now once the timer ends, everything becomes back to normal and they move at a normal pace now. So in combat you can use this mask both defensively and offensively. So let's say these balls are the enemy and you're right next to them. You can activate the ability and create some distance between you and the enemy. So this creates a type of breathing room for the player, just in case they're surrounded or swarmed by the enemy. Or you can also slow down time and continue attacking, which lets you technically attack at a faster pace and them not being able to retaliate since they are slowed down. Another way the player could use this is in puzzle-based levels. Since this does affect everything globally, except for the player, everything will get affected, including in-game objects. So in the level, or in the game, we have a level where the only way to get across one side of this chasm to the other is by traversing on top of the falling rocks that are falling from the waterfall. However, they're going too fast for the player to even jump on. So the only way to counter this is by using the sloth mask to slow down time of the falling rocks. Now I can show you here where I have a boulder at the top, this rectangle, and if I press play, I can slow down time of the boulder and jump on top and across, and I get to the other side. Now, this isn't the first time a video game has done this type of mechanic. So the game Super Hot actually uses, the whole game revolves around the idea of slowing down time. So the way theirs work is whenever the character stops moving, everything else slows down. However, we didn't want that. We wanted the character to keep on moving even after slowing down time and attacking. So the way we did it is we just had it as a cooldown type of ability, instead of what Super Hot did is it only activates when you stop moving, and you can activate it whenever. So if we look at my code here, the way I did the code is by changing the values of the time.timescale function. Time.timescale's default is 1, which makes everything move at the standard speed as we see in the game, and I just lowered it to 0.1, which makes it go at a extremely slow pace. I have also added this line of code which smooths out the effects of the slower timescale, since without this line of code, everything will become all stuttery. I also have duration for how long the ability can last, and cooldown for when you can reactivate the ability. Now in the first person character controller, the only thing I've changed is the time.delta time for the move script. So instead of time.delta time, I use time.unscaled delta time, which stops it being affected by the time.timescale. So one of the bugs I found in the script is when I keep moving in the slowdown time instance, it will keep walking for a couple seconds. Now I'm not sure what causes this bug, but I am planning to fix this by next week. Another bug I found is I noticed that some objects will keep moving at the same speed they were during the whole slowdown time instance. So I noticed this only happens on objects that have a add force script to them. These objects that are bouncing here, they usually don't get affected, or not that I've noticed. But yeah, it's not a game breaking bug, but it's definitely something that I need to look into by next week. So that is all I have for this devlog. Next week I will be starting on creating the greed mask for the character, and also doing some minor improvements for the sloth mask ability. Thank you for listening, and yeah, see you on the next devlog.